Hi, thank you for watching us here at Tax Talk UK, where we talk about all things tax and other important aspects of being self-employed and running your small business. So we're going to talk about an overview on plastic tax today. And before I start on that, if I could please ask you to take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll easily be able to refer back to this information should you need to, as well as finding other information that we have on a whole wide range of topics. If you want to be notified when we upload new information and new content, then please also turn on the notifications. So back to plastic tax. So I don't intend to cover this in a very deep manner, just enough that's sufficient for the small businesses who are likely to be watching this video, just so that you know enough about it that you can keep the records that you need and know when you're going to fall within this. So plastic tax was introduced in April 22, and it is a tax on basically plastic that is imported into the UK from overseas. So that's the first thing. If you don't import anything, then plastic tax is nothing for you to worry about. If you import, then there's various aspects on exactly the purpose of the plastic packaging, what its purpose is, and recycled content is also relevant. But the main thing that I wanted to explain was that the plastic tax doesn't kick in until within a 12-month period you import 10 tons of plastic. So if you are importing and your items are coming in plastic, but you know that you're well underneath the 10 tons, then what I would suggest is that you just need to keep record sufficient evidence that you are under the 10 tons. And obviously if your import volumes increase, then and you feel that you're going to get near to the 10 tons, then obviously at that point you need to start looking into more detail, which really is beyond the scope of this this video. But as I mentioned, even if you only import a very small amount, you do need to be able to evidence, if required, that you are underneath the 10 tons and that you have been under. So in order to do this, if you consider the how you're importing and when you're importing, to work out a method that you can apply to your imported plastic to be able to evidence this. So if, for example, you import a fairly consistent amount of plastic month in, month out, then I would suggest that you work out for 1 month how much plastic you've imported and the weight, and then multiply that by 12 and use your average, the average month record. And then of course, what you could perhaps do is, if some months you import, if you have kind of a lower and a higher tier or amount that you're importing, then but you're only importing a very small amount, then what I would suggest is that you perhaps use the highest amount that you would import, and then over time, if you realize actually your activities have increased and you need to adapt that average, then that's fine. If, for example, your imports aren't done in such a way that a monthly average is appropriate, for example, if your imports perhaps are seasonal or large items, that aren't necessarily seasonal but don't fall into a sort of regular monthly pattern, then you could look to record the amount of plastic that's imported with one import, and then keep a record of how many imports you have. And again, we're talking about businesses that are actually well below the 10 tons. And of course, the nearer you get to the 10 tons, then the more the more accurate and the more recording and monitoring that you need to do. So as I mentioned, if you get near to the 10 tons within a 12-month period, or you think that there is potential, then at that point you should start to look more in depth about exactly whether the plastic that you're importing sort of meets the criteria, or if any exemptions apply or anything like that. But whilst you're well under the 10 tons, which I would anticipate the audience of our videos, we aim for small businesses and self-employed, so we wouldn't expect many of you in our audience to be importing in excess of 10 tons. So as I say, just be aware of it, be aware of the threshold of 10 tons, and just make sure that you have a system that you can quite easily monitor, that records how much plastic you are importing, so that if asked, you can easily evidence that you are well under the threshold, and therefore are not needing to register for the plastic tax. So I hope this helps give you an overview and an understanding at what point you need to start thinking more about this. And please, as I mentioned earlier, please do take the time to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.